I'm DJ Otis Badass alongside Lone Wolf Bobby Blade, the old school icon, the king of physical media, as we will be joined by Aaron Tiny Rose.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing first, bringing company to the ring, by Frank the Tank. He hails from Brentwood, California, Scott Diamond.
There you see the leader of the Diamond Cartel, Scott Diamond, with the massive Frank the Tank in his corner. Coming out here tonight to take on New South Wrestling owner, Tony Presley. And guess who he's got in his corner? Just take a guess.
Oh, let's see here. In my vast mind of wrestling knowledge, I believe an MWA legend, an NWF legend, a legend throughout the state of Kentucky, Ohio, wherever independent wrestling is hot throughout the tri-state and beyond. Wildcat Chris Harris.
Don't forget one half of America's Most Wanted, Frank the Tank, out here at ringside with us at the commentary booth.
That's right, Frank the Tank is here. We got business to take care of. He's going down. No more. No more. He's just going to quit after this.
You heard it right there from Frank the Tank himself. They got business to take care of. Tonight, Tony Presley goes down.
And there.
Ladies and gentlemen, his opponent from Frankfort, Kentucky, Tony Presley.
Owner,
Oh, look at this, look at this, look at this.
Wait a minute.
Frank the Tank bolts from the commentary booth and goes right after Tony Presley.
Frank the Tank not wasting any time, and neither is Scott Diamond, as both are going to work on Tony Presley. As we heard Aaron Rose say prior, this is a grudge match, and Scott Diamond, Frank the Tank, holding grudges. Ooh.
Uh-oh. You hear that? We find the defendant guilty. It's time. Here comes Wildcat Chris Harris.
Wildcat Chris Harris out to the aid of Tony Presley. The 7-time MWA Tag Team Champion with James Storm. Quite the career that Wildcat Chris Harris has built for himself, and continuing to build on that career. He is in New South Wrestling tonight, Thanksgiving Throwdown. And Scott Diamond pointing at Tony Presley, saying he's done already.
Tony Presley already a little worse for wear in the ring, having been attacked by Frank the Tank. Save was made by Wildcat Chris Harris. Frank and Scott are awfully proud of what they've done here.
Chris Harris on the outside of the ring, Tony Presley on the inside, Frank the Tank directly in front of our broadcast position, Scott Diamond into the ring now. And we're underway.
Tony Presley already starting this match with a disadvantage. Oh!
Scott Diamond looking at us saying too smart for that, but Tony Presley saw the window of opportunity as he goes to work on Scott Diamond. And right into the gut of Diamond.
Russian leg sweep by Tony Presley.
And the cover, 1, 2. And Scott Diamond getting to that bottom ring rope. Tony Presley works him back up.
Big hip toss by Tony Presley on the Scott Diamond. Tony Presley picks Scott Diamond back up. Frank the Tank right there watching. Oh, look at that. Right to the eyes of Tony Presley. And Scott Diamond goes straight to the floor to get with Frank the Tank to get some words of advice, encouragement, and whatever else.
Frank the Tank coaching up Scott Diamond. You can see Wildcat Chris Harris on the outside of the ring.
You know, Tony Presley looks like he's in a little bit of trouble now with favoring his eyes, but let's not forget that Tony Presley himself is a former heavyweight champion. He's a former tag team champion as well for New South Wrestling when they were part of the NWA.
The S&S Express.
Absolutely. He was wrestling under the name Scott Storm then. Has reverted back to his real name of Tony Presley. Oh, look at that!
Scott Diamond getting Tony Presley right in the giblets.
And it was right in front of the referee.
And now Frank the Tank backs off a little bit.
Oh! Frank the Tank just hammering Tony Presley. Here comes Wildcat Chris Harris. Runs Frank the Tank off.
And Scott Diamond kicks Tony Presley. We're going to back up now.
Scott Diamond sends Tony Presley off, goes for a big clothesline. Tony Presley ducks under, hooks on a sleeper hold. He's got the sleeper on Scott Diamond trying to put him out. Wildcat Chris Harris looks on. Frank the Tank looks on for Scott Diamond.
Tony Presley with that sleeper hold.
Oh.
And again, Scott Diamond.
Wildcat Chris Harris just calls it out right there. Another cheap shot from Scott Diamond.
And Scott Diamond up top.
Seems to be serving up giblets tonight, or giblets, however you say it.
Giblets. It's a turkey gizzard you got to watch out for.
Yes, I got one caught in my throat one time, about choked to death.
Scott Diamond and Tony Presley. And Scott Diamond really dominating this match. Quite surprising.
Scott Diamond laying across the middle rope there. Here comes Frank the Tank again. Big forearm onto Tony Presley. Scott Diamond running across the ring and backs that thing up right into Tony Presley.
I'm just commentating over here.
And Frank the Tank
Oh my
comes
God,
over,
look at the action.
takes a seat.
So much action.
So much action, indeed, from Frank the Tank.
Scott Diamond, fistful of knuckles, trying to say it was an open fist in the forearm. Right across the face of Tony Presley.
And here comes Scott Diamond. Nobody home for Diamond. And Tony Presley has turned the Thanksgiving table on Scott Diamond.
Big elbow. Scott Diamond goes down. Tony Presley following up, picking him back up off of the mat with a big scoop slam. Puts him right back down. Goes for the cover. Only a 2 count. Scott Diamond out at 2. Oh, look at that! Frank the Tank grabs the foot of Tony Presley. Tony Presley goes down. Wildcat Chris Harris letting referee Dave Harmon know exactly what happened. Oh, did you see that, Otis?
Scott Diamond has that big chain behind his back.
Oh!
And delivers right to the head of Tony Presley. There's the cover from Diamond. As Dave Harmon has been caught up into the out-of-ring antics of Frank the Tank. There's the cover from Diamond. 2.
Oh!
Chris Harris has pulled out Dave Harmon of the ring. Harris pleading his case for his partner, Tony Presley.
Letting him know exactly what Frank the Tank did.
And Dave Harmon.
Oh, look at her! Wildcat Chris Harris drapes Scott Diamond across the rope. Cover! That's it! That's it!
Ladies and gentlemen, the time of the ball, 6 minutes and 14 seconds for your winner, Tony Presley!
Tony Presley and Wildcat Chris Harris celebrating Thanksgiving early here in the New South Event Center as Tony Presley has put a little wobble wobble in Scott Diamond's gobble gobble this evening.
Oh, he did what?
Put a little wobble wobble in his gobble gobble.
I'm just a commentator, man.
The former MWA Mountain Wrestling Association two-time champion Wildcat Chris Harris with Tony Presley as they celebrate the win in this grudge match here at New South Wrestling's Thanksgiving Throwdown. Continuing coverage of New South Wrestling's Thanksgiving Throwdown exclusively online on our YouTube channel, including New South Wrestling's Fallout from Nicholasville, Halloween Heat, and Bash in the Beach. Stay up to date